List of Adele. Beyonce.
Power God. This is why Adele has to get on the podium and thank Beyonce. When actually she did it because of my manager, my label, my A&R, and all of the I created for her to exist.
Beyonce needs auto-tune. Adele, Aretha, Celine, Dionne Warwick, and Mariah. They need nothing.
Everybody remembers Adele winning that Grammy, but the part people keep replaying now isn't the win, it's how she acted. Because that didn't feel like a normal speech. That felt heavy, like she wasn't just talking, like she was choosing every word carefully, almost like she knew the whole world was watching a moment that mattered more than people realized. And once you clock that energy, it changes everything. Before we go deeper, hit like and subscribe if you're into these breakdowns that actually peel things back layer by layer, because this one gets weirder the more you sit with it.
Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
Beyonce, it was so monumental. We fucking adore you. You are our light.
Beyonce and I started out around the same time, and just like all of her fans, I fell in love with her. The first time I saw her, from her singing to dancing to acting, she can do it all. She's a triple threat and one of the most talented people I've ever seen.
And the fact that Beyonce made a country record changed the game. So thank you.
Beyonce, you changed my life. So thank you so much. I definitely want to say thank you to Beyonce.
And thank you, Beyonce. You're amazing.
I also have to say thank you to Beyonce, just so that we keep the dance community safe. Everybody, Beyonce, you got great music. We all love to dance to it. We all love you.
Beyonce is a witch. She's a very powerful witch. She's heavy into African spirituality. She is a daughter of, I believe, either a daughter of Oshun or Yemaya. I go back and forth. I feel like it's Oshun though, but if I got it wrong, I got it wrong. But nonetheless, she's a high-ranking witch. Madonna is a very high-ranking witch. She is a high priestess. That's just pretty much what it is. Of course, the main thing Madonna practices is Kabbalah, but then there's different versions of Kabbalah, just like there's different versions of African spirituality. But then I also believe that in addition to African spirituality, I do believe that Beyonce is into dark magic and black magic as well. Her and Jay-Z.
So let's set the scene properly. Adele wins Album of the Year for 25, going up against Beyonce's Lemonade. And this wasn't just any competition. Lemonade was dominating conversations, visuals, meaning everything. It felt like Beyonce's moment. Even people outside her fan base were saying it was hers. So when Adele's name gets called, the room already has that tension, like something just didn't go the way people expected. That's important because it explains the pressure before she even touched that mic. But then she gets up there, and instead of just accepting the award, she pivots straight into Beyonce. Not a quick thank you, not a respectful mention. She builds the entire speech around her, calling her the artist of her life, saying the album meant everything to her, saying a part of her died inside when she won. And that right there is where people started pausing, because that's not normal. Artists don't stand on the biggest stage of their career and basically hand the award to someone else verbally. That's not how these moments usually go. That's something else. And then comes the part that really sticks her tone. Her voice cracks. She gets emotional, but it doesn't come off like pure joy. It feels like stress mixed with admiration, like she's overwhelmed, but not just because she won.
She is my icon of my whole life.
My life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyonce.
Lemonade. So a piece of me did die inside as a Beyonce stan, I'm not gonna lie, because I was completely rooting for her. I feel like it was her time to win. Obviously the visual is very new, and and the Grammys are very traditional, but I just thought this year would be the year that they would kind of go with the tide. And I am, of course, very, very grateful having won it. But I felt the need, because I love her, because I felt like she was more
like there's something else in the air. And if you rewatch it now, knowing what people are saying, it hits different. You start noticing the pauses, the way she looks out, the way she keeps circling back to Beyonce like she needs to make sure the message lands. And then it goes further. After the camera's cut, after the speech is done, Adele reportedly goes backstage and keeps the same energy, still thanking Beyonce, still explaining herself, still making it clear she didn't mean to take anything away. And that's where it flips completely, because now it's not just a public speech, it's a private follow-up. That's not for the audience anymore. That's personal. And people started asking, why? Why keep going? Why not just let the moment be? That's where Wendy Williams stepped in and said what nobody wanted to say out loud. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't frame it as sweet. She basically said Adele looked nervous, like she was walking on eggshells, like she was trying not to step wrong in front of Beyonce. And that's a bold claim, but once it's said, it sticks. Because now, when you watch the clip, you're not just seeing admiration, you're looking for signs of pressure, and people swear they see it. The hesitation, the over-explaining, the intensity. And then Wendy added another layer that made everything even messier. She suggested Beyonce might have been feeling a way about Adele at that time. Not in a loud, obvious way, but in a quiet, competitive way. Was outselling Lemonade, because Adele was pulling numbers that were hard to ignore. And suddenly, it's not just about admiration anymore, it's about dynamics, power, perception, status. And once you introduce that idea, the entire moment shifts. Because now, Adele's speech doesn't just look emotional, it looks calculated, like she's making sure she positions herself correctly in that moment. And whether that's true or not, the fact that it feels possible is what keeps people talking. But here's where it gets even deeper, because this wasn't just about Adele. Around that time, there was already this ongoing pattern people were noticing. Celebrities constantly thanking Beyonce in situations where it didn't even seem necessary. It became a running joke online. Clips of artists winning awards, doing interviews, and somehow Beyonce's name gets dropped, like it's part of the script. At first it was funny, but then people started paying attention, because it wasn't one or two people, it was a lot of them. Different artists, different moments, same kind of energy, respect that felt intense, almost rehearsed. And then Adele's moment happens, and suddenly that joke doesn't feel like a joke anymore. It feels like the most extreme version of something people were already side-eyeing. And of course, once the internet picks up on a pattern, it starts building theories. Some people say it's just industry culture, pay respect to the biggest name, keep things smooth, don't create tension. Others go further and say there's a kind of unspoken hierarchy.
No one could ever compare to Beyonce. Let's just say the name that we're discussing. No one could compare. No one will for a very, very, very long time. And that was never my aim either. However,
it was framed that way.
Well, no, it was absolutely framed that way. It was written that way. Was not my lyrics, was not my writing.
Where certain figures hold a level of influence that goes beyond just music. Nothing confirmed, nothing proven, but the conversation exists because the behavior keeps repeating, and Adele's speech becomes the centerpiece of that conversation. Because she didn't just follow the pattern, she amplified it. She turned a thank you into a full moment, and people can't decide if that was genuine or if there was something underneath it. And here's the twist that keeps it interesting: both sides make sense. Adele has always loved Beyonce. That's not new. She said it multiple times before that night. She's praised her, supported her, openly called her an inspiration. So yeah, you can look at that speech and say it was just a fan overwhelmed in a huge moment. That's a fair read. But then there's the other side, the side that looks at the intensity, the repetition, the backstage follow-up, the emotional weight, and says, this wasn't just admiration, this was pressure. And the truth is, those two things can exist at the same time. You can admire someone deeply and still feel like you have to move carefully around them, especially in an industry where every move gets analyzed, every relationship matters, and every moment can shift how people see you. That's the part people don't say out loud, but they feel it when they watch that clip. That something about it just wasn't relaxed. It wasn't effortless. It felt like she was navigating something in real time. And that's why the moment didn't fade like most award speeches do, because it didn't land clean. It left questions. It left a feeling, and people keep going back to it, trying to figure out what that feeling actually is. And Wendy calling it out early just adds to that mystery, because at the time, people dismissed her, said she was reaching, being messy, stirring drama. But now, years later, people are replaying her words and thinking, maybe she caught something before everyone else did, or maybe she just said something loud enough that people started looking for it. Either way, it changed how that moment is viewed, and now every time the clip pops up, it comes with a different lens. Not just admiration, but tension. Not just respect, but pressure. And that's what keeps it alive, because there's no clear answer, no confirmation, just a moment that feels bigger than what it was supposed to be. So now it really comes down to perspective. When you watch Adele up there, emotional, repeating herself, circling back to Beyonce over and over, what do you see? A genuine fan giving respect where she feels it's due, or someone making sure she doesn't step out of line in a moment that mattered more than it seemed? And maybe the real reason people can't let this go is because deep down, it doesn't feel like a simple answer exists. It feels like one of those moments where something real slipped through, but not enough for anyone to fully explain it. And that's exactly the kind of moment that never dies on the internet.